Dear Professor Khatri, it is very nice to welcome you to Nai Duniya, which is a Baha'i-inspired channel dedicated to the sustainable development, prosperity, unity and peace of humankind. In all this, education plays an important role. We are here at Moscow for a UNESCO forum, and there has been a lot of discussion on education in the world and its important role in bringing humanity to prosperity. So I once again welcome you to Nai Duniya.
Thank you.
You have a great experience in higher education, also in industry. So let's have preliminary remarks on the status of higher education in India.
First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity, Dr. Anil. I'm happy to be talking about Indian education system at a place like Moscow, and that shows how much we are concerned about integrating with the global standards of education over here. Let me just begin with, before we come to higher education, let me just clarify a little bit about my background. I am proud to say that I started my primary education with municipal schools, the Tatpattiwala School, and later on in government multipurpose higher secondary school at Damo in MP, a small town, and then went on to do engineering. Then I was for a quarter century I was with industry, a public sector industry at senior levels, so I have seen that industry also. Then I switched over to academics because of my passion for education and training. And I have been a faculty in management as well as I was a director of an MBA college. So I have seen very closely the industry, the government education system, as well as the higher education system.
And you have been connected to the grassroots. You have risen from the grassroots.
And I am really proud to say that whatever I have achieved in life has been due to strong primary education that I received in those municipal schools.
But people generally criticize the education that is available in the rural areas or municipal schools, the government schools.
Because what I achieved was in 1960s. Things have changed since then, and maybe the perception of people may have also changed, and it may be right to some extent, but not to full
So
extent.
that means that earlier there was better education, the quality education in school system at the primary level in the rural settings or in municipal schools was better.
I would like to restate the thing in a different way. Let us first start, when we talk of primary, first of all let us differentiate between education and literacy. When we talk of right to education or primary schools, mostly we are concerned about literacy, that illiteracy should go, people be literate. But education is much more. It, as some senior social scientists had said, education is not filling of the empty vessel of your brain with facts and information. It is to develop a capacity to think, capacity to analyze, to be creative, to see within us and develop as a complete human being. That is the real purpose of education, which sometimes I feel we have lost over the years. Now our education system, if we can say it, education system has converted into examination system. So exams are important, quarterly exam, half yearly exam, semester exam.
So what was your experience at the municipal schools that laid a solid foundation for your life?
You see, again, I would like to elaborate it a little bit. There are three stakeholders in education. One is the student, he or she. Second is the institution providing. And third, the main factor is the society, which includes the parents of the student also. If you remember, in olden times, we had education does not start in a school. First of all, let us be very clear about it. Education starts right from the homes.
That's true.
By the parents.
Mother, the first educator is the mother.
Mother is the first educator. In our times, we had joint families. Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani used to be there, and they used to teach moral values. They used to teach from epics and tell stories.
So that would help in character building.
In character building, morals. And once you go to school, the teachers were more committed because they thought it as a duty. A noble duty of a teacher. That was the thinking in the society.
Post-independence era, and there were high ideals. And we wanted to make India great.
We used to respect our teachers very much and dare not disobey them. And we enjoyed going to schools. We were not forced to go to school. We enjoyed being at schools. And the environment there was of learning. Again, let me elaborate. Teaching is one-way communication from teacher to the learner, to the student, not learner. Learning is a two-way communication where teacher as well as the learner, the student, is equally involved into it. And if they are able to get sufficient inputs from the society, from their social circle, the parents and the media and
don't
others.
you think that in the past teachers were not trained in the methods of teaching that are modern, and mainly they are criticized because we feel that they were mainly lecturing in the classes, or it was one-way traffic?
Perhaps because, as I said, it depends upon the student also, and if the students are committed to learn, it is rightly said, if you want to really learn, you will find a good teacher. A good student will always find a good teacher. That is there, and teacher gets so much, because I have been into teaching also. After a very good job at senior level in industry, I opted for a teaching job because that was my passion. And there is no other profession as noble and as satisfying as teaching. Well, that's my view about it. Now, what has happened is that we have limited education to the boundaries of a school or college. So that is wrong. Like I would like to quote George Bernard Shaw. Once he said, I had excellent learning throughout my life. George Bernard Shaw said, I had excellent learning throughout my life except the years I was put in school. So that shows that once you are asked to conform to a particular curriculum of a rote learning sort of thing, and then putting it into examination.
You see, the education that is given in developed countries is much sought after, but there is a research which shows that even in a country like United States, when they did research on 2 years old, 95% of them had the capacity to become a genius. And when they again did a survey for those students when they were in class 5, they found only 50 or 60% could become a genius. And after their graduation, only 2% of them could become genius.
One thing that has to be learned is that every individual is a different person. Once we have same curriculum, in the same class, same notebooks, same books, same teacher. A teacher was guru. He used to adopt the child as a disciple, and that made the difference. And once Shishya adopts as guru, there was total
so the latent potentiality and the capacities of the child were developed because the guru understood that individual and suited education to the personality of that child.
Now what is happening, sir, is curriculum. That is the biggest drawback in our education system. I have seen throughout my life. I was a student also in technical education, and I was mechanical engineer in a regional engineering college, which is now NIT at Bhopal, one of the best colleges at that time. But do you know, when I was in the final year giving examination, at that time the calculators came. But we were not allowed to use calculators because nobody knew how to operate it, and it was not taught in the class. So we used to use that slide rule still. So because technology is bringing new avenues, and the teaching, the teacher as well as the institution, they have to adopt new methods. And it is not to be said that now things have changed. Things have always been changing. The history is changing.
I think teachers have to learn to be always in a learning mode.
Yeah.
A good teacher is a learner, a good learner.
Yes, unless you are a learner yourself, you can't be a good teacher also. So a constant learning has to be there. Whether in primary or secondary or higher secondary or higher education, the rules apply same. Now, once I switched over to education, and with my background in industry, when you see, we used to take interviews of fresh engineers or other people. And we used to say, what experience do you have? And they said, no, I have just passed out fresh air. And we were hesitant to take them. Now, how do they get experience if they are not employed?
Because the education in the university and schools is only textual, that is begins with words and ends with words. But they have no hands-on experience.
But there is a problem with the industry also. I have seen both sides, industry and institute. Industry blames the graduates. They blame the university and education system that the graduates that are coming in any stream, they are not employable. What is the responsibility of industry? If they want to take work from them, is it not they should also pay some attention? I have been in industry, and then I have been as a director. It was a very hard thing to place our students for summer training. No industry is ready. these trainees will disturb us. No, if they are not ready to give even summer training, for which they are not paying anything.
Very good insight.
Yeah, they are not paying anything.
Yes, on one hand they say that we want
experience,
vocational education, or they should have good internship, they should have hands-on experience.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they don't want to give them.
They don't want to give summer training. They see it as a disturbance. Now that is a drawback. III industry institute interaction. That is the solution. There has to be on a permanent basis. Another thing is that industry wants something else, new skills as per the latest things. The curriculums are designed long back. Teachers have studied something else. They can teach only something else. They are not trained in the new skills. So there is a gap, skill gap. Now, how it will be solved? Why industry does not collaborate with institution in designing the new curriculum?
That's true. According to the latest needs.
They feel it's not their job. It is job of university or education institution to design a course which suits them. But they are not going to tell what suits them.
Exactly.
So this is a major drawback in India, in our education system, whether at any level you see, graduate or postgraduate or technical, that industry and institution, they keep blaming each other, but they are not collaborating each other, and there is no forum
for industry and university or college interface. They have to come together and then devise mechanisms, syllabuses, curriculum, hands-on training, so that they get employable graduates.
Another thing is there's too much emphasis being placed on placement. Now the quality of institution is judged not by its faculty, not by its courses, not by the quality of teaching, not by their laboratories, but how much placement has been and which are the companies taking graduates from them and what is their salary level. And they proudly announce, our boy has got 23 lakhs per annum.
But on the one hand, we are talking about graduates being employable. So what is wrong if the companies come to an institute of excellence, which is excellent in education, and take a lot of graduates, and these graduates are very well placed? Naturally, they will get a good name, like our IITs, IITs.
Yes, that is a marketing benefit to the institution, but that is not the primary purpose of an institution. Placement is, they have to make them employable, but they are not employment agencies. They are supposed to do job of employment agency, which are separate things. So they must concentrate, focus on developing a child with full skills and character,
giving them the capabilities,
giving them the latest. That should be focus. And parents should also bother about that rather than placement.
Okay. I think it's a good idea.
They may get placed, but after 1 year or a few months, they will be exposed that they don't have the required skills. Or as a person,
so there is a manipulation even in that.
Even
inviting the industry to come to the institution.
Take them for a few months. And then throw them out.
Just to show the numbers.
Exactly. It happens. I have been with an institution like that, and I have seen many. Now, what is happening is, why these people are not employable? Let us understand, being employable doesn't mean being expert in your chosen field. It means not only knowing your chosen skills of the field, but also soft skills, of life skills that we call, they must be able to correlate with others. You talked about IIT, IIMs and all that. I will come to that also. I have seen in industry, we had senior people employed who were graduated from IITs and IIM. They were the biggest failures in taking work from people. They had some kind of superiority complex in them, and they didn't even treat their juniors well. They didn't treat even their seniors well.
Why is it that the developed countries, intake, a lot of them, I mean, from any IIT, find a lot of people going to the United States, for example.
Now, this is another aspect. If our Mr. Pichai or Indra Nui, they go there and they run such big multinational corporations successfully, then why we are not able to give them same opportunity over here?
Correct.
And utilize their skills? Why do they go away? Because they feel their skills are not being used over here, and there are no opportunities for that. So that is another thing that perhaps our...
You see, that the values we were talking about, which should be there in a child from good parents, they are lacking because they want a lot of money. And you were talking about the competition, excessive competition that exists, and the drive for placement, not service, because actually education should prepare human beings to serve society, to give back. But everybody at the moment, having gone to an IIT or a very nice institution also, wants personal benefit. They want to derive maximum money, maximum facilities. Nobody wants to give back to the country. An IIT student, I think, is prepared by huge expenditure of the government, of public funding. And there is no restriction on them to leave the country.
I would like to develop on this. A very good point. Whenever our HRD minister or anybody talks about higher education, they name IITs and IIMs. Are these the only higher education system? How many percentage of students of India, less than
very true,
0.1% go to that?
That's right.
And you are spending so much for these. And look at another thing. You are preparing them for foreign MNCs by providing them lots of money and funds. Third thing, the fees structure of IITs and IIM is so high that only rich people can go there. The competition that you talked about is so high that unless a person has trained for years for the coaching to get into selected into IITs and IIMs, so they spend in coaching
also leading to a lot of distortion in the school system, because people are preparing to be admitted in IITs from class 8. There are programs that the school children are enrolled in those. Even sometimes they waste 1 or 2 years, and then they don't go to the schools, so they miss their classes. That whole idea about school is now it's redundant. Going to school if you want to be admitted to the IIT. And educated people, I know professors who have not sent their children to school because they wanted them to be engineers from IITs.
Now just see, this position, this undue emphasis on getting admitted or enrolled in technical education has created a different kind of social divide.
That's right.
Because they feel that only that is respectable who gets into these fields, and other professions are not respectable. Arts, culture, humanities, sociology, psychology, they are only if you don't get admission into science subjects or engineering and medicine, then you opt for that.
There is a slight change now from the interviews that I have conducted. I find that parents have also become more liberal. So if a child wants to go into music or dance or into sports, to some extent this is happening. They are giving the freedom to the child to select their own field of their own interest.
That's a very welcome thing, change that is coming, but it will take few more years for this idea to sink in. Unless we remove this glamour that we have put into IITs and IIMs, this will not happen fully. Another thing I will say, I have been to some, I will not name, but to some big institutions who receive crores of funds. They buy huge equipments, latest machines and computer systems which are not even opened, unpacked. They are just lying. They don't know how to utilize that funds.
They are there and for inspection teams or for just showing off.
I narrate my own experience. There are strict AICT and UGC rules for approvals. You must have so many teachers per so many number of students. There should be one teacher, one assistant professor, one associate professor, one professor level, all that. Now a private college which is not funded by the government, they have to make such huge investments into infrastructure. So much acres land should be there, so much building area should be there. Library should have so many thousands of books, even if they are not read by anybody else. But numbers are counted. So many teachers, so much staff, so many computers in lab. Now see, we had 60 students in a batch, and you should have 60 computers. Now,
legal software.
And legal softwares also. So you are putting unnecessary burden on private institutions. So they want to save somehow, and that is where the quality suffers, because you are making them dishonest by showing more number of teachers or showing more number of computers or library books, etc. And then only certification is issued. Now these things have to be amended, rationalized. Although their concern for ensuring quality is really appreciable, but the tools of ensuring the quality is perhaps that needs change. Now let me again point out that the curriculum, the course contents. You don't have freedom to design your own courses. You have to get it approved by IIT.
Yes, approval, but then autonomy is given now to the institutions to frame their own courses, set their own examination papers.
Within certain
yes,
limits.
That's true.
Yeah. So let me again little bit divert it to another aspect of education. If you see, you talk about America or other developed countries. If a person wants to pursue only higher education in maths, he is allowed. Here, you will have to study maths, you have to study physics, you have to study chemistry also.
Not only that, they can allow you to do interdisciplinary studies.
Yeah.
A person can study mathematics and geography at the same time.
At the same time, yeah. Now, we are not allowing that. So there is, and we are putting so much pressure on children, our students. You have to pass this much, this is the first division, this is this division, semester exam, this projects, this, that. So that's why I said education system is
to disturbance in personalities of the children, as well as making them commit suicide in extreme cases.
Yeah, it is happening even in biggest
making them hypertensive.
Top institutions.
Yes, in top institutions.
And
doctors,
not only in top institutions,
in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, committing a suicide because they think they are not meeting the aspirations of their parents, or they're not as good as their colleagues. I mean, they have to be cultivated to understand that, as a human being, they have a certain limit to their potential. They can aim for a higher achievement level, but they cannot undermine what God has given them.
Even in, you must have learned in coaching institutions at Kota, there are so many cases of suicides.
That's right.
Because they are not able to cope up with the pressure. And parents, then again, I said student, institution, as well as the society. Now, another role of society is, if the parents put so much high expectations from their wards, that is putting a psychological pressure on them. Comparing them with other neighbors' children or other relatives. And
even it's not good to compare two children within a family.
It's not possible.
Not possible.
They are, you see, all the students in the same batch or same class also, they are not raw materials which are put into the same machine and the same type of product comes out.
Nature diversifies. You would have experienced in your family or in many families you have seen that children of the same parents living in the same house, eating the same food, being brought up in the same manner are very different at times. They're very different. And you see, if you study psychology or if you study educational paradigms, there are three types of character that are in a child. One is the innate character. That is, from birth, the child has some expertise. He has some particular set of capabilities which are different.
Set of
and
skills.
The purpose is perhaps to run the world smoothly. You need carpenters as well, plumbers as well, doctors as well, teachers. You need different types of people to run the world. You can't have the same kind of people. And then the second character that is in us is inherited. So, our language, our dress, our food, all these habits and our thinking to some extent is inherited. And the third one is acquired. What we acquire in formal education.
In education,
so that
as well as
makes
from
us,
our environment.
Yes, that makes us, a specialist in a particular field through this formal education that we are talking about. So we have to understand the diversity of the human race, and it is now being very frequently said that all professions should be treated at an equal level. Cannot be same, but they can be similar. The salaries cannot be same, but the gap between the very high salaries and the low salaries must be reduced.
The emphasis should not be on what you are getting from it or salaries. Emphasis should be how excellent you are in whatever profession you are choosing.
Very true.
How excellent you are. The excellence should be, the quality of level should be the same.
That is right.
Now, if excellence is not there, neither your scientist nor your plumber, if they are not excellent, neither your scientific theory nor your bathroom pipe will hold water.
That's true.
So it has to, everybody has to be
and
excellent.
then that moral capacity that, on all difficult circumstances, you are not going to be corrupt. Otherwise, you will become a doctor, but you will not be a good human being. You will become an engineer, again you will not be a good human being. And what it will lead to disasters. Now people don't trust hospitals. They feel doctors are there to make money. They have targets. How many tests they get done, how many patients they will pull into the system, and they keep on extending their treatment.
The root cause of this malaise is lack of moral values and ethics that was to be there right from childhood. We cannot give them an injection of values and ethics at postgraduate level or when they are becoming doctor or
and
engineers.
you see, there is another thing that at the higher levels now, the lot of importance is given to teamwork. Now, if a child is so competitive and has done so much hard work and just with one single-minded aim that I have to, then how will he cooperate with others? That is very difficult to get rid of. Unless the child learns to serve society, he has to understand he is born in this world, he will have a particular role, he will serve in a particular field for the good of humanity. If that spirit of service is not there and he is only to take from society for whatever they have invested money wise or otherwise in the child's growth or career, he has just to think of getting that back and earning much more than that, this will distort the whole thing.
Exactly. But again, see, the possible reasons for that is, if you make education so costly and so competitive, you are putting another kind of reservation, which is not based on caste, it is based on class. The higher class of people or the richer people, they put their wards into the best of the coaching institutions to get enrolled into the best of the institution, and they have the ability to pay highest of the fees.
Even here, private colleges, even if their students don't come on merit, they can pay for them.
They can pay for the high donations and all that, or they can even afford to send them abroad in universities with much higher fee structure. So
actually, this is something very important, because what is now happening, that a poor man's child may hold merit, but he will not get that seat because the cost of education is so high. Other people who have less marks, who have lower capability but have more money, they will get the seat. And so, this poor man's child can never become, for instance, a professional.
Although there is always a argument being given against reservation based on caste, but nobody talks about reservation based on money.
That's true.
And that is a bigger thing that is creating a much bigger social divide.
There are a few lakhs per annum fees, for instance, for a doctor. Right now, if a person's son has excelled, he has stood first in the merit for becoming a doctor. If he doesn't have those few lakhs a year, if he is just earning 30,000, which is also a kind of middle level salary, how will he pay per year, 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs? And so his son can never become a doctor. And the not deserving candidate will become a doctor because this poor person cannot pay the fees.
Exactly. And now there is another repercussion of that. Once a parent or the student has invested so much money in getting admissions and then getting education passed, now what he wants immediately after employment, he wants to get it back
and multiply it,
and maybe multiply it, and then he goes for corrupt means.
If 50 lakhs have been spent on a doctor, he would like to get 500 lakhs.
And that is how the corruption builds up.
That's true.
Then another social problem that we have is in our society is the dowry system. Now, if a person has invested so much into the bringing up children education, he wants the same thing from the father of the bride as a compensation that I have spent so much in the education. Now, how will the bride's father will get it? He will again enter into corrupt means. So, what we are talking about, values and ethics and morals and all that, this system is creating corruption and all the materialistic attitude in people, where the money is the deciding factor.
I think Abdul Kalam, our president, much loved president of India and very high professional in his own right, he rightly emphasized the role of spirituality and science.
Exactly.
And unless that, now in this forum, we did discuss a lot of these issues, but I think the importance that is to be given to humanities or to spirituality, that was not so much emphasis.
In fact, we have to integrate it. Neither spirituality or humanities alone is sufficient. Even a person pursuing humanities, he needs to know computer skills or mathematical skills or accounting skills also. Similarly, a person pursuing technical subjects, whether medicine or engineering, he also has to have a feeling of understanding of of how it is being
and
affected
also,
to the society.
Larger purpose of life, that is perhaps to know God, our maker,
Yeah.
and to worship him.
Yeah.
Also, because we see God in others, as per our Indian tradition, we would like to treat them as divine.
Yeah.
And then not to just think of ourselves, but to think of people around us,
Yeah,
especially the underprivileged people. So I think that it was a very good discussion we had,
you.
and
Thank you.
many issues have been highlighted. I hope that our viewers would think about these and do something about it.
Thank you.
It is
Thank
not
you.
enough to enjoy a presentation, but to take home the message
Yeah.
and put the understanding of that message in our own lives and in the lives of our children and our neighbors and wherever we work.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think by this action plan that has been suggested, if we implement that in our own life, we would be able to do good to the world.
Exactly.
And our education system would start improving.
And
So
let's hope for a brighter future. And thank you very
Mr.
much for the
Khatri.
opportunity.
It was very nice talking
Anilji.
to you.
Thank you so much.